We welcome you in on this windy Wednesday night for tonight's live stream of Wave News Extra as proof to cement just how much wind you might be feeling out there. Taking another quick view from our SkyTrack camera network, and this is Spaghetti Junction. Really enjoying seeing this view as we wind down our evenings downtown. And depending on when the gusts will pop through, you're going to see the camera shake. So you're certainly going to notice it if you still need to step outside. What that all is going to entail, well, you know the storm tracking team is going to break that down much more in detail if you download the Wave Weather app. And when you join us tonight on Wave News at 11, the storm tracking team, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett, also going to let us know how to prepare as we move ahead with the rest of our week. And we always appreciate you joining us here at the Wave Now studio as we take this time at around 8:05 every night to unpack some of the day's bigger stories, the breaking news, just the updates to those major stories in a way that you have your smartphone or your devices handy while you're still going about whatever you need to take care of country. And we're going to begin with the updates to this deadly, tragic KSU shooting on campus. So a father in jail for murder and police saying that his son is a KSU student, and that father shooting two other students, putting that campus on lockdown just yesterday and days before the holiday break. All in all, police and witnesses describing even what started as a fight, which then turned into the shooting, all happening outside of this KSU dorm. We learned the moments that led up to the shooting, again, were captured on video from a person who appears to be another student cowering, but inside of a dorm room seeing this play out. We also learned the victim is from Indianapolis. His mother tonight now planning for her son's funeral that she never could have imagined. Wave News reporter Logan Perrone has new information about our victim and the father who allegedly pulled the trigger.
Less than a day after a deadly shooting at Kentucky State University, police in Frankfort say 19-year-old Dizon Darrell Fox Jr., a student from Indianapolis, was the young man killed. His family grieving, unable to say goodbye.
They say he died, I think, at 4:17. I think I got caught at 3:20. I never would have made it in time.
His mom, Chardonnay, remembering her son as harmless and quick with a joke, and a friend of his, a good student who stayed out of trouble.
All he do is make people laugh. I don't know too many people who dislike him. How could you dislike him? Like, he gonna get on your nerves until you like him.
Police arrested 48-year-old Jacob Lee Bard from Evansville, a father to at least one student on campus. He is accused of shooting Fox and another student during a physical altercation. The moments leading up, captured on video from a dorm window and shared on social media. What appears to be a group of students can be seen fighting in the video before a man pulls a gun. The fighting taking place right in front of university police.
But obviously when this happened, they acted quickly and were able to prevent any further any further injuries, and were able to get that individual into custody.
At that same spot Wednesday, students packing up for the semester with classes and finals canceled for the rest of the week. What's left of the students leaving a vigil as they look to move forward.
That just goes to show what kind of family Kentucky State has here as the HBCU.
All right, thanks to our Logan Perrone being out there in Frankfurt for this update. And KSU's president saying that the unnamed student who is still being treated is still very much severely hurt, getting that critical care tonight. And as for Bard, the father and the alleged shooter, he's scheduled to make his first court appearance tomorrow morning. When that happens, we'll make sure to share those updates with you in real time as quickly as possible. Well, as we move forward with more of tonight's big stories, we've learned out in Washington, Representative Morgan McGarvey renewed his push to reintroduce the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act. The bill itself would require police officers identify themselves and their purpose for serving a warrant. And the reporting with the background for when Taylor was killed, and that's when LMPD officers shot into her apartment during a raid. Officers at the scene have maintained they did announce themselves. Taylor's boyfriend, who was there and fired at police, claims they did not. Well, today McGarvey was joined by lawmakers and Breonna Taylor's mother at a press conference calling for this ban.
No mother should ever have to experience that that pain or kind of loss. No-knock warrants are dangerous. They create confusion, escalate fear, and often end in tragedy for civilians and officers. These raids do not make our communities safer. They tear families apart and destroy trust.
This was not the first time McGarvey had pushed for this legislation as he did today. He and Senator Rand Paul also tried to get the bill passed last year, but that did not occur. As we move through some more top stories, the case between a former Metro worker and Metro government itself is going to continue. And at the center of the discussion was whether or not the judge who's going to oversee this case could make a fair decision. Former Assistant Facilities Director Jessica Thornton claims she was wrongfully terminated from Mayor Craig Greenberg's administration. Her attorneys filed a motion for Judge Mitch Perry to step down from this particular case. They argued that Perry went to a political fundraiser co-hosted by his wife for then candidate Craig Greenberg that showed his support for the candidate. That was the argument they were making. Attorneys also pointed to Perry's years as a county attorney defending Metro in similar cases. And today we heard Judge Perry defend his decision to stay on the case.
Is we cannot fear, here's a quote, public clamor or alarm. Judges should not recuse simply because somebody's shining a light on them. So I fully respect your right to do it, but I firmly deny it and will not voluntarily recuse from this case. So that's my ruling. I will put that in writing.
Thornton's attorneys will have 30 days to appeal this decision, whatever the ultimate decision is, though, too. Judge Perry noted he has never sponsored any political event. He said that during this discussion onto the record there in the courtroom. In more updates tonight, Louisville-based U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers, well, they confirmed they seized some counterfeit jewelry arriving from Hong Kong and Taiwan. They counted 3 shipments in total. One was supposed to go to a home in New York and Staten Island, another to Irvine, Texas, and a third package heading to Houston. And officers described these as having fake Cartier, Rolex Cosmograph watches, Audemars Piguet watches as well, and even hats, as you see the brands there, Montclair and Chrome Hearts, but essentially all counterfeit goods. If all the items had been real, the shipments would have totaled a value of more than $18.5 million. And in an update tonight from LMPD saying that they are noticing that car break-ins have been on the rise lately across the metro, something as you've been perhaps finding these posts online with people you know and your connections are sharing them, saying that these stories are happening to them. And it's not just people who unfortunately will have forgotten to unlock their cars or lock them in this case. Thieves, though, right now, police say are smashing windows to look for things inside them. And police say they're using new technology, including drones, to catch criminals. But some victims we spoke to say they just would like to simply see more being done. And with that, Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Francischini talked to one man who had cars broken into 2 days ago. And a little bit of extra context for you. LMPD saying the number of stolen cars is down almost 20% when compared to last year, but the number of cars broken into is up by more than 10%. As far as the given metrics there, people living in Norton Commons, for example, are saying break-ins for them have become a norm and hoping police will do something about it.
If you drive around Norton Commons, you may stumble upon this. Cars with bags covering their windows. The glass still on the road as evidence of the crime.
We heard kind of like a bang, come out here to find that 2 cars had been broken in just right outside our house.
A neighbor who wanted to remain anonymous says he's been living in Norton Commons for 6 months. This is the 3rd time he's woken up to smashed windows on his car.
These people, they run around here essentially free. It's free game. If they see a car that's sitting for more than a couple of days, they hit it.
There's a few things that frustrate me more than a thief. When people work hard for the things that they have, they should feel comfortable that they get to enjoy them.
LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey says police are focusing on catching the thieves by using their drone program when a suspect leaves the scene of a crime.
This is the way that we prefer to get people, when we can control the environment, when we can do it in a safe way, not putting the public at risk to address property crimes.
Chief Humphrey says they're also working with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to make sure those arrested are processed and charged properly. But some people wish police would do more, like increase patrols in targeted neighborhoods.
For these people to just go around here and just raid your cars and break any windows or every window for that matter, and there's no recourse, seems a little egregious.
Our thanks to Fernando Garcia Francischini for that report. And LMPD says that they believe prioritizing the arrests of suspects is going to help them out in the long run. Chief Humphrey adding that many of the people who are committing these particular car smash and grab kind of crimes are repeat offenders who have done this multiple times before. So whatever that strategy is to invest and apply the drones to perhaps make some arrests will certainly be something, as we know, you will be interested in watching on our live stream, and we'll make sure to check in on them as well. We're going to take up for tonight's live stream, including a bit of an opportunity for voters in Kentucky State Senate District 37, as early voting is almost here for the special election to replace David Yates. A little bit about the priorities for the three candidates whose names are on the ballot. So something we're going to break down with you very shortly. Also discussing what tonight marks is a very somber anniversary for deadly tornadoes out in Western Kentucky. Much more to discuss beyond that for today's big stories and news. We're going to take that quick break and be right back with more Wave News Extra. Here we are right back at 8:18 on tonight's live stream. Always appreciate you connecting with us here in the Wave Now studio, whether that's through your Wave Now app on your smart devices or through the myriad of ways, like, for example, Michelle connecting with us on Facebook, but you could also do that through YouTube, Twitch, and X right here to join us on the live stream. With a story as we look ahead to a special election, actually, three candidates are vying for what was David Yates' old state Senate seat. Remember, David Yates now being named the interim county clerk for Jefferson County. And tomorrow, residents who live or are part of District 37 will be able to start their early voting. So the three candidates running for this special election, their names are, we're going to go through them and you're going to see their faces soon, but they're Calvin Leach, the Republican candidate, Gary Clemens, the Democrat, and Wendy Higdon, the Libertarian. For all three of them, this would be their first elected position should they wind up winning. Yates represented 37th Senate District for a little more than 4 years. And in 24, he was reelected with about 60% of the vote in his favor against Calvin Leach. Leach, a little bit of background for him.
If we were
Entirely out of the question.
if we were
Might be some lost audio there. I had to mute. Well, nevertheless, a little bit of background for our candidates. Leach, an Army veteran, a native of Louisville South End. Clemens, again, the Democratic nominee, also an Army vet, president of Louisville's chapter of United Steelworkers Local. Libertarian Wendy Higdon is the surgical technologist by trade and also mentioned that she is a foster parent actively. So in our past reporting leading up to the special election, we let you know about in-person excused absentee voting. Well, that ended today, so that window has closed. No excuse early voting starts tomorrow. That is going to run through Saturday, we did check in with a spokesperson for the Jefferson County Clerk's Office who says there are 75,000 people in District 37 who are registered to vote to make their voices heard. So what we're about to play for you is the question that our reporter Julia Richardson asked each of the three candidates, and it's basically what each each nominee sees as the biggest issues that they want to address and they see need to be addressed for their district in 37. And so we're going to play those parts of Calvin Leach's response, Gary Clemens' response, and Wendy Higdon's response, just so you have an idea of where they stand on those particular issues that might define their priorities.
There's numerous points of contention. We could talk about law and order. We could talk about infrastructure. We could talk about affordable housing. We could talk about the education reform, healthcare reform. It's hard to pinpoint one specific issue. I would probably start with infrastructure.
And kind of expand, why would you start with that?
It needs to be one of the top investments. We have roads that are in disrepair. We have homes that are vacant. We have areas that have been zoned for commercial use that have been empty for several years. We need to fix that. And another thing that we need to pursue with respect to that, especially if the metro government isn't going to step up and get involved, is the construction of an overflow wing for Metro Animal Services so that when they go over capacity, they don't have to worry about euthanizing a lot of the innocent animals. And it would also be nice if we could allocate some funding to the airport to help them expedite a lot of these renovations that are going on. I know that it's primarily financed on the federal level, but anything that we could do as the state government to step up and help the developers get that stuff done is going to be very critical to help them move on to the final phase of the project, which is ultimately an international terminal.
What do you think the biggest issue that your district is facing is right now?
I mean, obviously, like just as Americans, we have a lot of issues going on right now. But for me personally, it's JCPS and the education system. We have like bloated budgets. The budget for JCPS is well over the city of Louisville's entire budget. The amount that we're spending per kid, and then we're not getting anything out of it. We have 2-hour bus rides, and we don't have resources for our kids, and our teachers aren't being paid, and we have vacancies across the board. So that, in my opinion, is the number one issue that we're facing in Jefferson County. Because if you don't have good education, then you don't have good citizens at the end of it for a productive society.
So what would you say is the biggest issue your district is facing right now? Do you think
cost of living? Yeah, cost of living is definitely the biggest issue right now.
And so I know there's some that you've already kind of addressed, but 3 issues that you think you'd like to maybe pass legislation on, if you had no roadblocks at all, if you got to the Senate, 3 things that you would be the priority to get.
Lowering the cost of living, getting higher paying jobs in the South End, and also making sure the South End gets the money it deserves to help this area thrive.
So our thanks to our Julia Richardson for that part of, going out and getting these candidates on the record for their interviews and their priorities, what they're going to be, should they be elected. She's going to have her full report with more of the questions. She did ask the special election District 37 candidates. Make sure you join us tonight for that report on Wave News at 11, as well as our other original reporting that we're going to have ready for you. And we're going to make sure to publish that on wave3.com when the time comes. In another story we're following, because this was a meeting that wrapped up a little earlier this evening, we do know that neighbors here in the metro spent time with the team that is going to monitor the progress LMPD makes toward reforming practices in its department. So the organization's name, if you're going to be familiar with that moving forward, it is Effective Law Enforcement for All, or ELEFA. It was picked to oversee this progress back in September. We know tonight's meeting just wrapped up about 24 minutes ago. It was from 6 to 8 at Passport by Molina Healthcare. That was on West Broadway. Guests, people who came by, could ask the team members who were present questions and even share ideas about ways they could make sure that LMPD lives up to its stated mission and how they could best make sure to follow and track that progress. In this story, we will have our Wave News reporter Meredith Lee break down the summary, the reaction, the feeling from guests who came by to see their questions were answered, what they would like to see done, and as it takes on this task for an independent monitor for LMPD. Crossing over to Indiana tonight with a story about an investigation into a man's very strange DoorDash experience. This was just past midnight, December 7th, when a man called Mark Cardin and his wife decided to order DoorDash. So there's a video where you will see a driver walk up to their Evansville home, deliver the food. But from there, it looks like the driver proceeds to pepper spray the order. The couple said they had no idea why or what was going on, and they dug in like normal as if nothing had happened to their food, but it didn't take them long to realize that something was obviously wrong.
I noticed my wife had started eating and she started choking and gasping. And after she had had a couple bites of her food, she actually threw up. It's horrific. I mean, we assume it's pepper spray. It's more than likely what it is. But now in this day and age, it could have been anything. Could have been rat poison, could have been fentanyl. You know, I mean, my wife could have been dead.
And you saw the close-up there just in that little bit of video as Cardin was talking. So he immediately called DoorDash and then called police. The sheriff's office says they're investigating. This could result in felony charges even. Cardin says they don't know the driver personally. They even did tip her for the service for the delivery. He is encouraging others, though, to be alert at all times for these interactions and for their own personal safety. And certainly a story that will be worth following to see if and when those formal felony charges are eventually filed. Coming back to the Metro, more than 100 seniors now have a new place they can call home. It's thanks to a multi-million-dollar renovation on a historic West Broadway building. In this case, it is this one right here. It is called the Gateway on Broadway, now home to 116 affordable units, along with space for nonprofits and other businesses. But again, geared toward seniors, the goal is to offer them more affordable housing options. Governor Andy Beshear stating that the renovations here cost about $52 million. This building was built back in 1982. It had been home to everything from a church to a candy store, but now this is a breath of new life into this portion of the West End.
I understand for a lot of Americans right now, it feels like no matter how hard you work, you just can't catch up. The groceries are too expensive. The family vacation just isn't in the budget, and a safe place to call home, oftentimes too expensive. It's not right, especially when it comes to our seniors.
And seniors have been moving into these apartments. Oh, I'll make sure I get that out of the way there. Okay, well, seniors have been moving into these apartments since the late summer. You can find more information about the project if that's something you want to connect or learn more about. It is available on the Metro Louisville website. All right. I think now I can bring you back here into the studio, and feedback notwithstanding. Speaking of affordable housing and a milestone when it comes to a project that Metro Housing Authority manages and is about to close this chapter to move on to another way to provide the service for so many tenants and renters. And this has to do with basically ending this run for the rundown public housing towers at Dosker Manor. LMHA reporting that almost all of their nearly 580 residents who had been living there have now moved out and into better housing. And when that job is complete, the 3 apartment towers that have stood for as long as they have in downtown will be demolished. Wave News reporter David Mattingly has been talking to one of the last residents who now has a new place they can call home.
After living in Dosker Manor for 3 years, the first thing 66-year-old Paul Jones wanted to do in his clean new apartment is look out the window.
It's like this. Just lift it up. There we go. Well, what do you think of the view?
It's nice. Nice.
Relocated to a ground floor apartment in the Algonquin neighborhood, Jones says goodbye to unreliable elevators and fearing for his safety when he ventures outside. He is one of the last of more than 500 Dosker Manor residents to be relocated in less than 17 months. 40 still remain. About half haven't made plans to move.
Our self-imposed deadline is the end of this calendar year. I still think we can make it. If we don't make it, I think it'll be mid-January. It'll be a matter of logistics at that point.
We went back to Dosker Manor to find one of 3 towers already shuttered and surrounded by fencing and barbed wire. Inside Tower B, we found silent, dingy hallways. On this floor, everyone had moved out, leaving the peeling walls and leaking pipes behind. Looking outside from the balcony, only one apartment on the 14th floor of the neighboring tower had the lights on. For those who remain, it's just a matter of time.
We knew people were going to need a lot of assistance coming out of Dosker Manor. I think that we've been surprised at just how much assistance some folks needed.
Paul Jones benefited from that assistance, and after checking out his new home, he has no regrets.
I feel better already.
You feel better already?
Yeah,
Why is that?
because I'm here.
Our thanks to our David Mattingly for that update. Now, Wave News and David in his reporting also wanted to ask if everything does go according to plan and everyone is out in the next couple of weeks, even accounting for perhaps some extra assistance for the last remaining renters and residents there around mid-January. When would the towers physically come down? Well, we are told by LMHA that should happen sometime in the next couple years. It is 8:31 tonight for Wave News Extra. We're going to be back after this commercial break with more stories, including a moment to mark on a pretty, sad anniversary for the deadly tornadoes out in Western Kentucky about, 4 years ago, looking at discussions over healthcare funding at a state commonwealth level, what the General Assembly might be discussing out in Frankfurt. So we're going to share some of that with you, discussing ways to stay safe while you're shopping for Christmas gifts online, and another round of stories, much more to share with you as we continue our live stream. We're going to take this quick break and be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Wave News Extra. As we said a little bit before, taking this quick pause to unpack some of the more, the list of stories we want to share with you tonight. One of them is the fact that today marks 4 years since several deadly tornadoes hit Western Kentucky. Some of the images of the damage might be very eerily familiar, just a horrible deja vu to think of, that more than 80 Kentuckians were killed that night, December 10th. Going into the 11th of 2021, widespread damage across several counties, thousands just left without homes. Mayfield was one of the city's hardest hit. Its mayor, Kathy Onan, recalled the whirlwind of chaos that was following. And this was in the same room where the city's own recovery operations first began.
This was where it all happened after that first night. Many tears have been shed in this room. Many thoughts in this room, much help was brought to us in this room. To stand here today in this same spot where we've all stood before is an emotional experience.
Not long after this happened, Governor Beshear had established the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund to help folks rebuild. So as we check in on a wider swath of what's going on in the Commonwealth, we also know state lawmakers heard testimony today about a number of healthcare topics ranging from pain management to drug treatment programs as they're trying to line out a little bit more of a specific agenda for next year's legislative session. Reporter Phil Pendleton has more of what was discussed a little bit more in detail and how it could impact the overall state of healthcare across Kentucky.
Good morning. With the budget year looming, once again, Kentucky lawmakers will be presented with numerous requests, and healthcare always looms large.
When it comes to Medicaid, we've gone from just under $10 billion about 5 or 6 years ago. Now we're over $20 billion. So it's accelerated in terms of the cost.
Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Committee met for several hours Wednesday, hearing of a number of bill requests.
No other disease has this far-reaching impact.
First up was former governor and Dr. Ernie Fletcher, who talked about a unique drug addiction treatment program that he calls a recovery ecosystem,
which blends the resources of clinical services, the social recovery model, and community assets of housing, transportation.
Fletcher says it takes about 9 to 12 months to heal the brain.
So his is a little bit innovative. It's something that we need to continue to look at. And
lawmakers were also told of bills to reform pain management to get away from pills and possibly to prevent surgery.
The research shows that shifting to these care options offers immediate savings, not just down the road.
Wednesday's discussion follows months of meetings and ideas to juggle costs versus need.
Have better efficiencies in delivering the services, but we also want to make sure that the health benefits to those folks who are on this are getting the care that they need.
Much of what is happening follows another bill that was passed earlier this year. That's House Bill 695. Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And the next legislative session for where issues like this are going to be voted on then begins on January 6th. As all of that plays out day after day after day through proposals, propositions, discussions, debates in committee, all that will follow, we'll certainly make sure you follow along with us as we're reporting that. A quick check-in a little closer now, crossing over to southern Indiana in Floyd County. Well, after a ransomware attack crippled their own emergency alert system, Floyd County is debuting some brand new technology. So again, the county previously used its Code Red alert system before it was compromised again just last month. So that issue forced them to, one, stop using the old platform. And for weeks, they've been working on their new emergency alert program. It's a system that allows them to send out alerts about severe weather, unexpected road closures, missing people, evacuating buildings or neighborhoods. If you live in Floyd County, you can sign up for those alerts right now. And doing that through the emergency agency website, they'll walk you through a step-by-step instruction of how you can make sure you are up to date on what is going on. Looking at a story that has a little bit of, interest to it if you're thinking about holiday travel and just sort of someone who uses their smartphone for hailing a ride at different times. In this case, Uber says it's wanting to make things easier to get a ride home from your home base airport. The rideshare company is launching physical kiosks at arrival terminals at select airports to start. So this is going to be a bit of an experiment, a prototype, allowing travelers to book a car even if they do not have the app downloaded on their phone. In essence, you'd walk up to the kiosk, enter your destination, select the type of ride you want to pay for, and then pay it. The kiosk would then print a paper receipt with your trip details. The first of these is debuting at New York City's LaGuardia Airport, with more then being planned to install these physical kiosks for hotels, ports, and other airports in the coming months. So certainly of some timely note for holiday travelers, also on holiday travelers' minds, might be that shopping for gifts for your family and for yourself. But a lot, especially in this day and age, perhaps not going out to physically get in their cars to then shop around their malls or different commercial centers. It'll probably be on their laptops or their smartphones. So in tonight's Watching Your Wallet Consumer Protection series, investigator Carice Jackman is sharing a little bit more about how just a refresher course to shop safely on the internet throughout this holiday season.
Online shopping may save time during the holidays, but consumer advocates say it also opens the door for scammers. Before checking out, they urge shoppers to verify who they're buying from and whether the site is legitimate.
The threat of online shopping, of course, is that scammers like to impersonate and steal people's money in a couple of different ways.
Cliff Steinhauer is the Director of Information Security and Engagement with the National Security Alliance. He says one of the biggest risks is impersonation sites, basically fake pages designed to look like major brands.
You might see like everything looks pretty close to the real thing, but there's a difference in the URL or in the address bar, which sometimes they can do little tricks to actually hide the address bar where you can't see what site you're really on.
Steinhauer says scammers know the holidays bring a flood of online deals, and they hide their traps among them, hoping shoppers won't notice the warning signs.
And they'll just have all these deals that are usually too good to be true to get you to even go to that site in the first place. So that's one of the biggest red flags, of course, is a too good to be true offer.
And if you do run into a problem, even if you don't lose money, Melanie McGovern with the Better Business Bureau says you should still report it.
So let's say you're shopping, you find a retailer you've never heard of, you go over to a search engine, you type in the name of that retailer, oh, look, a BBB scam report popped up. Then you know that you want to use caution or maybe avoid that website based on other people's experiences. That's why it's so important to report any online purchase fraud to the BBB.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Speaking of reporting any fraud, the BBB as a search tool can also help you check a retailer-specific reputation if they've built that before you then enter your credit card information to save yourself that step of just the headache of having provided that information to someone trying to steal it. A quick search could save you from a lot more consternation over the holiday season. 8:41, we'll be back with one last round of today's big stories to share with you. Perhaps we're going to start with a more national, international story and wrap things up with a big heartfelt thank you and congratulations to all of you across Wave Country who helped support the Angel-a-thon and the Angel Tree program, as we're getting very close to making sure these kids and families who need this kind of support around our community are going to get the toys and the food that they would like to enjoy together this Christmas. So we're going to take a quick break to be right back with tonight's last bit of Wave News Extra. Welcome back into Wave News Extra, perhaps a story you've been seeing in the nightly news and shared across timelines and the big publications. But the reporting coming in from the Associated Press with the video now to match President Trump saying Wednesday the U.S. sealed an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela as tensions are mounting with the Maduro regime. using U.S. forces to seal the tanker. Incredibly unusual, marking the administration's latest push to increase pressure on the Maduro regime, who has been charged with narco-terrorism in the U.S., the government building up the largest military presence in the region in decades, launching a series of recent deadly strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats out in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean. The campaign is facing some growing scrutiny from Congress, though. Today, President Trump telling reporters at the White House, quote, "We just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large, largest one ever seized," and quote, "It was for a very good reason." Trump did not offer additional details. And when asked what would happen to the oil on board the tanker, Trump said, quote, "Well, we keep it, I guess," end quote. Whatever does happen next is certainly, because it is a story of such high national interest, we'll make sure to pass that information, send it to your smartphones. Make sure to sign up for those alerts as we do get perhaps confirmations from other media partners involved. In another story, getting a lot of interesting discussion and chatter online, and also a sort of controversial decision out in Australia, which is now effectively, quote, "ban social media for children under 16 years old." And this new law that is the centerpiece of the conversation went into effect today. So the country ordered 10 of the biggest platforms out in the world, like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, to block access to children or face fines up to $33 million under the new law. Major tech companies and free speech advocates say they're against the law, but it was welcomed by many parents and child safety advocates. For one perspective, we're hearing from some students stateside about what they think of Australia's project.
It's kind of disappointing, because that's like my main source of communication or like entertainment, It's obviously a change and I think it will impact my life, but it's something I can get used to.
They're just trying to reduce the site for bullying, because when you're online, word spreads and people find out more about what you've done, maybe rumors as well. And it's a good way to reduce distraction, because with doom scrolling and everything, it reduces concentration and can just impact your schooling.
So my bad on there. That would have been Australian students and their commentary on their own new law and losing access to this social media. Now, the decision in reporting was very emotional for one family who talked to reporters on record because her own daughter took her own life after online bullying.
One of the things that I said to the PM when we met him for the first time last year was there's an opportunity to leave an amazing legacy, and that legacy is saving the lives of children. And it would have been easier for him to not do this than to do this. But it's an amazing legacy that he'll leave for his time in office.
And it is an idea building some momentum right now in real time, because several countries, including Denmark to New Zealand, neighboring Australia, and even Malaysia, have signaled that they themselves could either study or adopt Australia's model to ban social media for children under 16 years old. So perhaps the question for at least understanding things as news of these issues comes out and gets to this part of the world, could a teen social media ban happen in the United States? Well, the reporting suggests a growing number of states have passed restrictions on teens' access to social media and other internet services. In fact, here in Kentucky, there's a bill in the works to reduce what its proponents are saying are the harms of getting on these platforms. It's called the Stop Harms from Addictive Social Media Act. So that's the specific term and the name. Their measure would regulate addictive features on the platforms and provide age verification to make sure you're of age that they feel is adequate to handle what the sites, do as far as interfacing. Senate Bill 11 in Indiana is also trying to, it says to protect kids online and verifying parental consent. Congress at a national level, they failed to agree on any specific other social media regulation for kids, and any such policy would then likely face First Amendment challenges. We're going to wind things down, coming back here into the studio just to give you a heads up of another opportunity should you need perhaps a little bit of extra help for getting your holiday meals for this Christmas. Well, Metro Council District 1 councilwoman right now says 30 families in her district will get some additional holiday help in the form of a $100 grocery voucher at Kroger. District 1, if you're familiar, consists of neighborhoods like Parkland, Chickasaw, Park Duval, Lake Dreamland, St. Denis, Riverside Gardens, and Russell. Households can't apply for the voucher if that's something you're requesting, that kind of assistance. There's information on how to do that actually on our story on wave3.com. And the 30 winners would then get to go shopping not too far away from now. Actually, would be not this coming Monday, but the Monday after that on December 22nd. And speaking about generosity in this case, to give away food or toys or just sort of those items of necessity in some cases for families who need that right now because of their financial challenges. Thanks to your generous support during our Angel-a-thon program just yesterday, Wave was able to raise $117,000 for the Salvation Army Angel Tree program. So thank you all for doing your part, however big, however small. Every dollar is going to help hundreds of families celebrate the Christmas season in their own unforgettable ways. Right now, it is not too late to actually donate, as we're going to keep that QR code up on your screens. That can take you to a link if you would like to give as much as you would like to give. You can also visit our website, wave3.com, click on the Angel Tree tab to find the donation form, a reminder of what our website will look like. And you'll see, of course, beyond just the banners there, but very much easy to navigate the information that you can check in with the Angel Tree program and ways that you can contribute to this great partnership that is affecting so many families and lives across the community. As we wrap things up, a reminder that we're always here, or most days at 8:05 to unpack the stories on this live stream, connecting with you all again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, on the Wave Now app for your smart TV devices. And just to let you know that we always are still working late into the night to prepare our original reporting and newscast for you at 11. So we will be back on the TV side of things to check in with you and let you know what's going on. Always appreciate your time, by the way, and building and maintaining that relationship with our neighbors out there in the community. I'm Jose Sosaya. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.